Hi guys! So today I realized that um, on this day last year was the day I got out of the treatment in St. Louis, and I remember I felt horrible because I felt like I was failing everyone, but I was like at the end of the rope. I was like, if I don't get out of here, I'm going to die here. I was like very convinced that they were going to kill me. Not like, oh, we'll just like kill you somehow. It's like, uh, yeah. I hope you guys know what I mean because I was like very convinced that I was going to die up there. Um, anyway, after my family got up there and after we signed all the papers saying that they're not kicking me out and I'm leaving against medical advice, even though they were basically kicking me out because I had two options. One was to go to an inpatient mental hospital up in Lamont, Illinois, or go home against medical advice. And I was like, Mom, please don't make me go to Lamont. They were wanting me to go there so I could get a little more healthy and stable so I could come back to residential treatment. And I was like, no, please, no. So, after we signed everything, my mom asked where I wanted to eat because it was a little after lunchtime. I didn't get to eat lunch there because I was not a patient there anymore. And I really wanted Taco Bell. So we went by Taco Bell and it felt so strange because like there weren't people staring at you all the time. And I was like scared that they were looking at me, so I would look around quite often and I would eat in bigger bites and things that they tried to teach us because they just had a lot of rules for the dinner table, and a lot of them were ritual rules, which I thought they were just normal habits that I had, but apparently not. So I went to Taco Bell for lunch. I got a $5 box and I think I ate all of it. I'm not exactly sure. But then whenever I got home, well, back to my town that I live in, I met up with my boyfriend and my cousin at Hardee's, and it was like probably 8 or 9 o'clock at that point, and it was awesome. Like, hugging them was the best thing because I had not hugged anyone in those 23 days, and I was really missing like normal people because sitting in groups for hours a day and talking about things that you're not comfortable with talking about and so many things that you're not comfortable about were happening up there. And like, it just felt like a very artificial world. I didn't learn much up there other than I don't ever want to go back. And I learned that things that I do are not normal. And among the eating disorder community, they are normal. But in real world life, they're not. So I learned that, and I learned how much I hated them weighing me every day and me not being able to see the numbers. And we had to get our blood drawn every week to see our electrolyte counts and all that stuff. And I remember the last few days that I was up there, I thought I was getting sick with something because my side was hurting quite a bit. So I went to the doctor, and that took like 5 hours because they had to get a driver. And then she took forever. And then the doctor's appointment didn't take long. But the lady who took me to the hospital to get the feeding tube put in, she was the driver to this appointment, and we just went to an urgent care facility in like a town 5 minutes away, so it wasn't that bad of a drive. But I wasn't allowed to see my scale numbers there either. So whenever I got home, guess what the first thing I wanted to do was? But I didn't weigh myself. I was really, really wanting to, and I was getting really anxious sitting there thinking about it and not doing it. I could make a video on all the rules they had up there and all my rituals and yeah, I could make a separate video on all of that stuff and all the habits that I had and still have sometimes, because it is a habit, it's an addiction, it's a disease. I didn't even know about anything like this. It just happened, and then 2 or 3 years later, I was like, oh, I think I have anorexia. Because I learned about it in a college philosophy or psychology class. And then I did more research on it, and I was like, yeah, I think I have a problem. And I didn't get diagnosed until like 2 years later, whenever I started going to therapy. And my doctors would always ask if I was depressed, had thoughts of suicide, stuff like that, but they never gave me a diagnosis of an eating disorder. They just knew my body weight was low, and they just assumed that since I've always been at the lower end, it was normal for me. And as long as my vitals were healthy, I was healthy. So, yeah. Anyway, I know I didn't really get through this, but I had to go to the urgent care facility with someone that I didn't really know, and she had to sit in the room with me and talk to the doctor with me. And basically, the doctor just thinks it was part of refeeding syndrome and my intestines getting used to having food again. Oh, that's another thing. Before I left, we had a group session where the therapists told us what happens to our bodies, and it's like, yeah, but they told me an interesting fact. When there's not enough nutrients in your body, then you start losing muscle, and your heart gets weaker because it's a muscle. And one thing that I really didn't know was whenever there's no nutrients and a little bit of water, your intestines, the cilia in them, things that catch the nutrients, kind of like dry out and turned into a crystal-like thing because there's not nutrients or fluid for it. And the body's trying to save itself. So it's like, do my intestines really need the nutrients? Or should I be giving this to the heart or the lungs or the brain? And yeah, those all came first. I also learned that your brain shrinks 30% whenever you have the eating disorder because you're not eating enough and you're not eating fats that your brain needs and is made up of. And by not eating those foods for your brain, it slowly shrinks, and then it can cause permanent brain damage. And I've mentioned before I have some permanent damage from the 4.5 years of having this. So that's fun. Yeah, okay. I don't really know what else to talk about. You can comment questions or PM or DM me questions. Or if you just want to talk about things, I'm here for you. Oh, by the way, I'm in my boyfriend's room filming while he's at work, so I hope he don't get mad at me. But it's okay. He never wants to be in a film with me because he doesn't like this topic and he doesn't want to think about it or talk about it. And like I've mentioned in videos before, it's just because he knows it's hard for me to talk about, and he doesn't want me to remember the things, and he wants to protect me from myself in a way, which is something I need because it's not very safe up here. Okay, bye guys. I will see you next time. Comment below, follow and subscribe if you want to. It's up to you. I will see you guys later. Bye!